It's Crazy Toy World with Steve Savino.
You put it together.
Light bulb not included.
Action figures each sold separately. Some assembly required.
Comes with everything you see here.
Free with 5 proofs of purchase.
Batteries not included.
Details on specially marked packages at participating stores.
You can collect them all.
Hey folks, again today I'm in Richfield, New Jersey, and I'm going to be talking to the ECPW Heavyweight Champion, the Reinforcer, Andrew Anderson.
What's up, Steve?
Hey, how's it going?
How are you, buddy?
Good. I'm in your house. I can't believe today I'm here with you.
Finally, right?
Yeah, it took us a while to get here.
15, 18 years?
Has that been that long?
It's been about 18 years, yeah.
Did I know you?
You know me since I started wrestling.
Oh, my God.
You know me when I was just a fan in Frank's Collector's Comic Shop in the Bergen Mall.
In the Bergen Mall in
Paramus, New
yeah.
Jersey. Yep,
Yeah.
just a kid coming in
God.
there. Yep. So we were both kids at the time.
I know.
Pretty much, yeah.
So why did you get into the wrestling business?
Jimmy Superfly Snuka came into a bar, and I'm related to Ole Anderson. I know. We're both Polacks, which is the funny part about it. And I'm related to Ole Anderson, and Jimmy Superfly Snuka came into a bar. I was forbidden by my parents to ever get into pro wrestling. So I became an investment banker. I hated it. I bounced on the weekends. There was a bar in Wallington, New Jersey called Rock the House.
Oh, yeah.
And then it became, later on, it became the Rec Room.
The Rec Room,
When it was the Rec Room, Jimmy Superfly Snuka was walking in as I was throwing out a drunken patron. And Jimmy came over to me, and I saw him, and I said, "Oh my God, it's a Superfly!" And I literally dropped the guy in his head while I was carrying the guy. So I went over to sit with Jimmy, and Jimmy said, "Brother, I want to talk to you." And one thing led to another, and before you know it, I'm on the road carrying Jimmy's bags. Jimmy's telling me, "You're big enough to be a wrestler. You're big. You're huge. You're a monster. Become a wrestler." And I kept hemming and hawing. And he was telling me stories about Ole. He was telling me stories about Ric Flair and everybody. And I heard everything. I knew the ins and outs of the business. Mm-hmm. And little by little, on indie shows, I would start to work matches. Just thrown in as a manager, thrown in as something else. And eventually I started working. I trained. I went to a wrestling school. I trained. And after I got my training, I was on the road. I got pretty much on. Back then, it was on the job training. You didn't have a wrestling school. You were brought from point A to point B. And then finally, when I fine tuned at a wrestling school, it was pretty cool, And then WCW tryouts, and WCW was good and it was fun, and WWE never really happened for me. It was always a dark match here and there, and then a promise of this, a promise of that, and nothing ever panned out because I was either too big, too small, too fat, too tall, too short. When they were into the whole Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero thing, I was too big. Then when they were into the whole, all the monsters came back at this point. It was with The Rock and Austin and everything. But they were pushing more for the younger guys like Billy and Chuck at the time and everybody. And everybody had to be 6'5" and over, So, they were looking for stuff like that for a while. So they couldn't make up their mind. And in the meantime, I'm not getting any younger. So I stayed with the indies. And then I went international. I started working in Africa, in Asia. I was with Kevin Sullivan, who you are his clone. And I would go to Africa and Asia. I was in Singapore, Bali. I was in Kuala Lumpur. I was with all these countries with Kevin Sullivan, who, when I was a kid, I always thought it was a gimmick that Kevin Sullivan be saying, "I'm going to be in Singapore," talking to the lady of the third eye. In reality, he was. And there I was in Singapore with Kevin Sullivan. I didn't meet the lady with the third eye, so I'm kind of like, I feel kind of gypped after all these years, So
he was Purple Haze.
He had the Purple Haze, Mark Lewin, and Marky is about 80 years old now. And I met Marky a few years back for the first time through Kevin and Jimmy Snuka, and at the Amsterdam, New York, real Wrestling Hall of Fame. I don't care what your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your uncle says. The WWE Hall of Fame is not the WWE Hall of Fame. That's Vince McMahon and Triple H playing, and they're doing what they want because they have enough money to do it. The real Hall of Fame is in Amsterdam, New York. All right? That is the equivalent of Cooperstown. That is the one that is unbiased. That is the one that puts wrestlers in, that doesn't put in Bob Uecker, doesn't put in Mike Tyson, and doesn't put in Muhammad Ali and Liberace and every other celebrity Hall of Fame. Okay? They want to have a Hall of Fame for that. Put something on the side, do it somewhere else. Wrestling is for the wrestlers. And right now, to me, WWE took the wrestling out of wrestling, and it's just not wrestling anymore. It's still a nice product for what it is. It's a great thing. The kids love it, and I think the athletes are tremendous, and they're amazing, and they're better athletes than we were, I think. And every generation just keeps getting better, but it's not wrestling.
So when you was like a youngster, that was the first thing in your mind saying, I wanted to be a rock star. You really wanted to be a wrestler?
I wanted to be a member of the Rolling Stones. I wanted to be a member of The Who. I wanted to be a member of Kiss. I wanted to be a member of Black Sabbath. I wanted to be a member of Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. I wanted to just get up there and, to me it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, Tons of naked women running down the hallway. And that's what my life has become anyway. Yeah. It's the whole aspect. I've become the epitome. I've become the wrestling rock star. My character, I have a whole different persona when I'm there on the road that, people I have to live up to. So, some of the times I'm so inebriated I don't even know my own name.
So getting back to, like, say, Gino Caruso School, that's where you went? Yeah,
I went to Gino's. I went to Gino Caruso School, East Coast Professional Wrestling Training Center in Lake Hiawatha. I went there. That was pretty cool. That was a lot of fun. I learned from Gino himself. I learned from Kodiak Bear, but a lot from Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Crowbar, Chris Ford, who also lives in Jersey. Yeah. And, Chris took me under his wing and, put me over and with a lot of stuff and got me the contacts to make it in the business in a way, So it was really Jimmy Snuka, and I have a lot to thank Gino Caruso for, because Gino opened up the doors. He got me the auditions for the movie The Wrestler. Mm-hmm. So Gino opened a lot of the acting windows for me. He got me the auditions for the Skittles commercial initially. So that was all Gino. That was East Coast Pro Wrestling. They came looking for some wrestlers to do these commercials, and they came to him.
So they say you have like a pretty long tongue when you're always taking pictures.
The Gene Simmons of pro wrestling.
The Gene Simmons of pro wrestling.
We'll ask some of the female fans. How many licks does it take? Choose you one good one.
Oh, my God.
Puts them all over the edge.
All right, so who was like your favorite wrestling hero growing up?
Growing up, I didn't have one. I had many. Now, everybody and their mother has to say the Babe Ruth and the Mickey Mantle of pro wrestling are, without a doubt, Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. Arguably, who was better? Better wrestler, better worker, Ric Flair. Entertainer, Hulk Hogan. Sure. So, but they both were in their own rights. Hogan was not my favorite wrestler growing up. My favorite wrestlers growing up were Don Morocco, Magnificent Morocco, the original Rock. Magnificent Morocco. I loved him. I worshipped the ground the Bruiser Brody walked upon, the late, great Bruiser Brody. Dick Slater, Dirty Dick Slater. A lot of the Mid-South guys I liked a lot, Mm-hmm. I got to say, Sergeant Slaughter as a heel when I was first watching wrestling was amazing. Killer Khan. I love the heels. I love the Wildman. I love the Missing Link, Dewey Robertson, who would become a really good friend of mine over the years towards the end of his life. The Missing Link. The great Kabuki, later on, subsequently the great Muda, later on after that.
Well, they were the real scientific wrestlers at the time.
Yeah. Well, they were, a lot of these guys weren't scientific. A lot of these guys were just maniacs in the ring. I love the maniacs, I loved Kevin Sullivan. I loved maniac Mark Lewin, who was the Purple Haze. Yeah. I love those guys like that. But I also, at the same time, I loved watching Terry Funk, who could mix it up anyway. He was the first, arguably the first hardcore wrestler there ever was. And one of the greatest interviews, too. Ric Flair. I loved watching the Briscoes, the Funks. I loved watching Jimmy Snuka. I loved watching all these guys in the ring, that just totally freaking amazing. Like they were great workers. Ric Flair was, without a doubt, to me, he was the epitome of, he was the total package. Lex Luger was named the total package. Ric Flair was the total package because he could do it all. He had the best interviews. He had in-ring skills. He had everything. He had He was just amazing. Flair was amazing. To me, Flair was... And Superstar Billy Graham, my God.
Yeah.
Superstar Billy Graham, to me, that was the prototype of today's wrestler. And he was just... he was the first guy out there with a body. And he just had the look. He had the talk. He did... It was just the tie-dye and everything. I mean, to me, he was just tremendous.
Me, I grew up with, Bruno Sammartino.
I love Bruno, yeah.
And then the two best guys that I used to, always think that they were great wrestlers were Larry Zbyszko and Tony Garea.
Larry Zbyszko is and always will be the living legend. He's just amazing. Larry was one of the best wrestlers. He knew he could put over anybody. I mean, just with his attitude in the ring. He was a tremendous wrestler. And as a heel, I loved him as a heel.
Yeah. And when they were feuding with Bruno, that was the best,
Yep. I mean, we broke the old style wooden chair over Bruno's head.
Oh, yeah.
It's great stuff. I love Larry Zbyszko. And then later on, he would be color commentary in WCW. He was a color commentator in WCW, and he was really, really just a great guy. And his matches with Fit Finlay and with Dave Taylor back then were great because Zbyszko came out of retirement to work with those guys, and it was just really good stuff.
And speaking about commentators, I think the best one was Jesse the Body Ventura.
I love Jesse. I love,
because he used to put down Vince McMahon all the time.
All the time.
Sit down, McMahon. It was great.
Sit down, McMahon.
Yeah. Why are you standing?
Hey, Gorilla. Hey, Gorilla. Where are you, Gorilla?
Yeah.
I'm from Minnesota. I'm from California, not from Minnesota. So
when he goes, when all the fans are standing up, McMahon, sit down.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. My favorite announcer would color commentator would always be Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah, okay.
I love Bobby and I love Jesse, but I love Jesse more. I love Jesse as a worker.
Yeah.
I love his gimmick. I loved him and Adrian Adonis as the East-West connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as announcers go, play-by-play, the best, I'd say the two best, without a doubt, Gordon Soley.
Okay.
And Lance Russell.
Okay.
So, Gordon Soley and Lance Russell. So,
and then I always like Gorilla Monsoon too.
Gorilla was good. Gorilla was good.
Really,
but you could tell Gorilla
Pearl
was,
Harbor.
You could tell Gorilla was running the show.
Okay.
So,
when you were growing up, what channels were the wrestling stations on?
They were on the UHF channels initially.
Okay, that's when you used to get your TV and take your stupid rabbit ears and twist them all around to get that station clear.
Yep. And they were on that UHF channel. I think later on it was channel 47 or 41, the Spanish channel.
Lucha Libre
47. So they would have it on that, and then they would have it also late night at midnight or 1 o'clock. I don't remember. It was on Channel 9, WWOR.
Yes.
And they had wrestling on there. And, being that you and I were in the New York area, the place would be Madison Square Garden to see wrestling. Yeah. I mean, back then it was Madison Square Garden. The Meadowlands didn't really host shows at the time. I don't even think
it was around then. And there was another big place that Vince used to use was, Vince Sr., was the Elizabeth High School.
Elizabeth High School and Garfield High School used to run shows, and he also used to run at the Embassy in North Bergen.
And years ago, for WWF at the time, it was Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
WWF.
It was at the Teaneck Armory.
Teaneck Armory, it was amazing. That building, I'm still trying to get a wrestling show there. A really good stacked card and pack that building up with some big names.
The reason why years ago, because when the matches were over, people were body slamming each other on the grass out there.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So, the town just said no more.
No more. Yeah,
because it would get out, say, around 11 o'clock at night, and everybody's going woo woo, walking through the streets.
That place was amazing. I love it. The Teaneck Armory still is an amazing building. So.
Oh my God. Now, going back to when you were growing up, was there wrestling toys back then?
No, not at all.
No, I'm just trying to think too.
You had nothing. I think you had wrestling magazines, the old Victory Sports Series that was put out by Stu Sachs and Bill Apter and all those guys were working on those magazines. Those are the only ones you really had. You had wrestling magazines, and every now and again in the wrestling magazines you can order back issues that would take 6 weeks to get something, and it was sort of like Famous Monsters, but at least with the Monster Kid, being a Monster Kid, which I was, I can order monster models, but there were no wrestling toys, wrestling dolls back then.
They only started like in 1984.
The Hogan era, 84, 83, 84.
85, Remco was the AWA, and then LJN was for the WWE.
The WWE, and the WWE, the Remco ones were the old the Warlord bodies, whatever they were called, and they were just with different heads popped on it. But, Jerry Blackwell, Stan Hansen,
the
Rick
grudge
Martel,
matches,
the Road Warrior, and they were kind of crappy. And then the old LJN ones, people consider them classics. To me, I consider them just glorified figurines because they were really just, you couldn't do nothing with them.
I remember a guy telling me one day I was selling the stuff, and he goes, "One day these are going to be the new Heartland statues." I'm like, really? And at the time, there was no really big money value on the LJN figures, but now, you have the Ultimate Warrior on the card. People trying to get $2,000
exactly.
for it.
It's insane. I mean, especially since a lot of wrestlers have passed away. That whole roster, it's 50% gone. Lou Albano, Andre the Giant, the Ultimate Warrior, Kurt Hennig, Bam Bam Bigelow. The list goes on and on. And that's one of the most unfortunate things about pro wrestling is that the lifespan of a wrestler is a third of that. I'd say it's probably 2/3 that of a normal human being. I hate to say it, but it's like the wrestling curse. They pass away young.
Yeah.
So, if you make it past 50, you're already past the curve. So,
did they ever make a figure of you?
No. I actually, why would you want a figure of me? I play with myself enough already as it is.
Oh man! And then just going back, do you remember on black and white TV back then on the old days, the Wolfman?
Which one? The wrestler, the Wolfman?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he would do something, and they would X out the screen because he was,
bleeding.
cutting.
Somebody's bleeding.
Yeah,
I don't remember the Wolfman. I remember seeing pictures of him, and vaguely he was all hairy. He looked like.
Oh yeah.
So I don't. That's a little before my time.
Then it changed, I guess years later. Then you got George Animal Steel.
Yeah, George Steele, and then I remember them Xing out the screen with Blackjack Mulligan, putting the claw on people in WWE TV, and them bleeding, and you see the blood coming down the guy's whole body, but the face is covered with his hand, and you really can't see what it was. So, but they used to do it all. Blackjack used to do it all the time. Or Killer Khan would start biting somebody, and then they'd X out the screen.
All right, big question, everybody's mind: is it fake wrestling?
I think the your microphone cut out there for a minute. I couldn't hear what you said. You said what?
Is it fake? Everybody,
I still can't hear what you're saying. I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
The performance that you guys do. Is it performance? You're entertainers.
Listen, people take Viagra to perform. Okay. I get in the ring and I do what I got to do. I take care of business. Listen, let me tell you something, Vince McMahon. I'm ready for any kind of action. Pedro Morales, 1976.
All right. If you don't want to answer that question, are you almost like a boxer or a stuntman?
I'm more like a porno star.
Porno star?
Yeah.
So that's almost like a, fill-in, sub.
Yeah, there you go.
So send in the sub.
Send in the fluffers.
All right. Everybody was doing this ice challenge. Did you ever think of doing your chop challenge to the chest?
No, I wouldn't have anybody doing that. I don't want people to get hurt. So, I've seen people try to do the chop and hit each other in the throat. I mean, kids do it. Sometimes they hit each other too hard. They hit each other. And I do it. The fans want to get chopped by me. I become known as, my chops have become legendary.
I saw some.
Some Comic-Con.
Red imprints on this guy's one chest.
New York Comic-Con paying $50, 2013 New York Comic-Con. I'm not at Comic-Con this year, unfortunately, because I'm wrestling this weekend. But last year, New York Comic-Con was tremendous. The chops, we made a lot of money doing that. The money's great, but the fans love it. They just want to get hit by me, and they want to get figure four'd by Greg Valentine. They want to get their hair cut by Brutus Beefcake. They sign a waiver. And some people pay the whole shebang, $250 to get their hair cut, a leg broken, and a freaking big handprint from me, a big paw print on their chest. And, they do it. They do it. I always ask Tito Santana, who's always with us, Tito, don't you feel left out? You want to hit him with a flying burrito? Well, hold him. You could do it for free.
I'm looking around in your house here, and you got, action figures. You got models up on this china closet. How'd you get into that?
It's like I said, I was always a monster kid growing up, and I grew up on the Mego dolls.
Oh yeah,
I remember being in like the third, fourth grade, and this girl coming in saying, look at these cards, and they were monster cards. And I said to myself, you know what? This is insane. It was insane. Actually, it wasn't even in third grade. It was actually probably in kindergarten. They had these monster cards, black and white monster, Universal monsters, and all the Beam horror movies. To me, it was like the greatest thing ever. And then all of a sudden, they had the old monster, the Amigo monster dolls, and the superhero dolls. And I remember my mother taking me to the store, and it was just like, I think it was Valley Fair or somewhere like that. And, and it had all the
Amigo line?
Amigos, and I thought it was just like the greatest thing ever. I apparently was unaware that they've been around for a while at the time. You know, I don't
They
believe
started around 1973.
Yeah,
Amigo
they were just amazing, and
they
then
went all the way to like 1978.
And then I remember all of a sudden there were Planet of the Apes cards out.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like before an action figure line came out, or dolls at that time, they would always release a box set of cards.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden the box set of cards came out from Planet of the Apes, from the TV series Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a
That's
sudden...
1974.
And all of a sudden the action figures started to come out. They started to make the classics for us, and then they started to do the TV series ones. And it was just, to me, it was snowballed.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you have Wizard of Oz, you have Chips and everything else, which was pretty cool. But, you know, those were the best, you know, and the Planet of the Apes, and then you had the $6 Million Man. And
that was Kenner going
and
back
then
then.
Kiss. The Kiss cards came out, just like Kiss. The cards came out, $6 Million Man cards came out. And all the biggest disappointment, I always thought, every time cards came out, you know, collector cards.
Yeah.
They came out with Moonraker from James Bond.
James Bond, okay.
They came out with Moonraker cards. And here I was. All I wanted as a kid was a Jaws figure with a Roger Moore figure, and maybe like some Hot Babe or something like that. So you know, after he beats up with him, he can have sex with her. I could try to undress the plastic. I don't know. You know, it always comes down to sex with him.
That was Jaws was Richard
Jaws was
Keel.
cool. Richard Keel just passed away.
Yeah, he just recently passed away.
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted
that was one of the toughest dolls to get at the time.
Yeah, and I just totally, I thought it was great. I always wanted them to make some kind of cool James Bond action figure.
Yeah,
you know. So
they
later
made
on,
Roger Moore. Yeah,
later on they made Odd Job. I think in like Amigo style years, like about 15, 20 years ago, they made like an Odd Job and a Jaws figure.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think they made James Bond himself.
Well, no, they made in 1964 by Gilbert. Was
they
James
did?
Bond.
Oh, yeah.
But that was Sean Connery. And
that was made in 64?
Yeah.
Oh, see, there you
63, 64 for by Gilbert toys.
What's that run now?
$250 in the box, and then you're talking an Odd Job in the box would be anyway between $500 and $600.
I think if we put my assistant Jason in a little tuxedo and gave him a little top hat,
he'd
look like Odd Job.
Just put the little mustache on him. Yeah,
that head.
Yeah,
he looks like one of those thummy wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? Just the thumb, the head. It's like no neck, just a protruding head. So.
He's a little peculiar, like when he's around, you know.
He's a strange bird.
A strange bird, right?
It's very strange. Very strange. Everything, every word I'm. Bag.
Oh yeah. All he wants to do is sit there and just eat, you know.
Eat and smoke cigarettes. Yeah. Go out for a smoke and eat, and then he's a character.
Where'd you find him?
He found us.
He found you.
Yeah, he found us. He found us, and they hired him. They hired him to run with behind the ropes and hook up all, you know. And then he just kind of wound up staying. So it's like a virus, you know.
You can't get rid of him.
Oh, I love him. He's great.
I know. No, he's a good
priceless. It's priceless.
Now I'm looking at these models up there, and they're all painted gorgeous. So it's got to be you. How'd you get into doing the paint jobs on them?
Well, initially I had a friend of mine, Ted. He would start painting the model kits for me because I had no time. I was always on the road wrestling, and I was doing all these tours at the time of Asia and I believe it or not, the Middle East and everywhere. And we do all these shows, and I bought all these model kits. It was around the time that Polar Lights and Screaming and everybody Screaming model kits and all these kits, Billikens and everything were coming out like crazy. In the late 90s, there was a model kit craze like we never had since the 60s. And I wound up buying everything I could find. When I was in Japan, I brought home that big Godzilla that you guys have been friggin' salivating over.
It's huge. What,
yeah,
5 feet?
It's about 6 feet from head to tail. I think if you measure it, and then it's about 4 feet high. So, but about 3.5 feet high. I think something like that. So I wound up saying to myself, you know what, I could do this. So I wound up painting them, and you know, one model kit would take me 2 weeks. So depending on the size of it. one of them would take you 2 weeks, and the detailing, and then I learned how to dry brush. And a lot of people said, you got to airbrush. I could never airbrush for shit. So I would learn to dry brush, and I'd have my palette, and I'd look like when I was married at the time to my ex-wife, I had this whole little station at the house that I just sold, and I would have this whole area where I have all my paints and all my stuff, and actually some of the paints are in the drawer right behind you from way back when. I think a lot of them are dried up, but I really haven't really painted anything until Brian asked me to paint something recently. And I came out of mothballs and I started painting during the week when I have time, when I'm off. Yeah. So now in the winter months, the wrestling dies down a lot during the week, so I can actually do some painting and stuff. So the assembling, I'm a big stickler. I hate having seams. Yeah. Seams of action figures. Model kits should be seamless, look like statues. So I try to get all the seams out.
I wish the people can see these because they're really gorgeous.
Yeah, it's the ones that I left posable, that I like to have the posability. I'd left the seam in so that I can adjust them. Other ones I really haven't. The Billikens are known to be posable, so I try for the most part to leave them the seams there so I can move them as necessary.
So what do you consider yourself, as a dealer or a collector?
I consider myself both, because when I'm at the wrestling shows, for years I would sit at conventions signing autographs. Mm-hmm. And the whole time I kept buying action figures. I wouldn't buy one, I'd buy two. And then I'd say, instead of buying two, one to open, one to leave in package, I might as well, just in case that one gets damaged, let me buy another one. And then I'd buy another one. And then this one is short packed. It might be worth something someday. And then some of them are worth squat, the old Toy Biz ones. So you have tons of them, and they're worth nothing. So you try to become what would the word become? A speculator, or a prospector? Trying to figure out what's going to turn to gold and what's going to stay shit.
Well, you got a lot of value now.
A lot of that stuff, yeah. So I would buy a lot. So when I was doing the wrestling shows, I'd sit behind the table and I'd see all these vendors selling a lot of, at the horror shows and the comic shows, selling all this merchandise. I'm like, damn, I got better stuff than they sell, and I have nowhere to put it anymore. So I'd start bringing it to certain odd shows, and I'd ship the stuff with me, and my assistant now helps me, and friends would get vans out and would bring all the shit there and hook up a big display behind me. So now whenever you see pictures on Facebook or whatever, you see me signing autographs, sometimes there's a wall of toys behind me. Oh, yeah. And I have stuff that nobody has at these things, which is amazing. And you got the occasional vendor that comes over, tries to rip me off. When I first started, we'll get back to that. I told you about there's no honor among thieves, all right? But initially, when I would be out there, I'd be sitting there and I'd be wondering, could I sell? Could I make money? And the first time I did it, I made a ton of money. All right. But my agent at the time, this sleazebag Alex, he took 50% of everything I sold. He's I'll get the table, and he took 50%. We split everything. I was like, then I thought to myself, why the should I give you 50% of what I my hard-earned money? Yeah. But I was so naive. I was just eager to get out there and sell my stuff, and and he totally blindsided me and ripped me off. So, and that was only one chiller theater that we did that, and then I realized, him. I don't need this. He also ripped me off a lot of stuff. He lied. You come across that in the business. I was a stupid young idiot, and he took advantage of me. So, and he made money off me without me even realizing it. So then I found out, when I found out it was 50% that he took and not 15%,
What can you tell the folks out there of how can they get into the wrestling business? Or would you advise them to get back?
Listen to me. If you're getting in the wrestling business to have fun and to enjoy yourself and something you wanted to do, that's good. Make sure you have the ability to do it. You have a physique, you have a look. Nowadays, with athletic commissions being regulated or deregulated, anybody and their mother can try to become a wrestler, and they don't last. They get hurt because you got to have a certain build. You got to have ability, all right, and you got to have intestinal fortitude. You got to have the drive, the desire, and you got to be ready to get hurt and hurt people. You know what I'm saying? And it happens. Although the object of the game is not to hurt anybody, not to hurt yourself, and to protect your opponent, it's still, you have a better chance of becoming an NFL player than becoming a WWE star. There's 150 WWE wrestlers on the roster. Maybe that's also including referees and NXT guys and stuff like that. So you got about 150 people on the roster. In NFL, you have a lot more. You have probably about 150 on each team,
Yeah.
So you have a better chance, with backup players and everything like that. But it's not the best business to get into. I got in it at a young age, so I was blessed to experience everything from WWE to WCW to I was there right at the cusp of the territories were already gone. Vince pretty much ran everything when I got in the business in '92. So I still had the ability to work for ECW and a bunch of other promotions. And now, it's not the same anymore. There's only, Vince McMahon and TNA, and TNA is going under. And, unless you're willing to travel and go overseas, you're not going to make any money in the States. I mean, it's unless you're established. I'm established, so it's easy for me to make money. But a lot of guys, it's not an easy business. It's a dog-eat-dog business, You have better chance of being an actor or making it in Hollywood or making it in the NFL or NBA.
It's tough being an actor, too.
It is. It's hard. I know what it's like. But still, it's virtually. It's hard. It's hard with wrestling. So
where did I actually meet you back?
Collector's Comic Shop.
Oh, okay.
Paramus.
In the Bergen Mall. Okay.
Bergen Mall, yeah.
All right. It goes way back there.
And then me and you would run into each other at Chiller all the time.
Chiller
Theater
Wrestling
and wrestling conventions, and there would be various comic conventions, and would run into each other in comic stores, and it just
Restaurants
all the time. Yes, yep, restaurants, and because we live in the same area.
Yes,
So fate must have been saying we got to be friends, So and then we want to be in buddies, and then he gets this big TV show. And then I get this freaking crazy commercials and everything like that, and then I get all this reality show deal that we were doing, reality movie, Behind the Ropes, and you and I, we're both involved in that project, and hopefully it'll somehow fly. If it doesn't, we'll just move on and do something else, right, Steve?
Oh yeah, there's always something next going to be coming up.
And I mean that's basically what I'm doing. What I'm doing next, what's in the future for the Reinforcer, it's called throwing enough to the wall and hoping something sticks.
Yeah, you just got to keep networking out there. And,
so
something clicks.
I'm filming. I got 2 scripts for 2 movies. I just finished a cameo in a Marvel film. I can't say what it is yet.
Okay.
I also will be appearing in the TV series Vikings.
Okay.
And there's some other smaller endorsements that are coming up. Working on a lot of stuff going on. So
how many times do you wrestle per week?
2 to 3.
2 to 3?
2 to 3. In the summertime, 4 to 5, 4 to 6. So just it's a lot on the body. In the wintertime, it starts picking up, believe it or not, after New Year's. So it just dies. Between Labor Day and Thanksgiving, it's at an all-time, So it's just bad. And then again, from Thanksgiving to Christmas, it's really, really bad. You'll maybe get 1 or 2 shows a week. If you're lucky, you'll get 2, and it slows down a lot. So I rely mostly on conventions during that time.
Yeah.
So this time of the year is the convention season. So summertime too. I mean, you do Monster Manias and stuff like that. But I really I did more of the Legends of the Ring and the big events. So
How was that convention?
Legends of the Ring?
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. Legends of the Ring is great. James, who runs Legends of the Ring, I love him. He's a great guy, and I'm blessed to be surrounded by such great talent and to be included and welcome with guys like Tito Santana and J.J. Dillon and Jimmy Snuka and X-Pac and Ron Simmons and, you name them, they're there. And I get included in the roster. That's pretty damn cool,
Yeah.
So that's just, to me, that's gravy, I mean, you get to sit with the guys you grew up watching and some of these guys are my idols. Some of them are my friends. Some of them are my idols and friends, like Greg Valentine's my dad, pretty much, I mean, I call him Pop, he's like my dad to me, So we're going to be a Chiller together. And October 24th, 25th, and 26th, Parsippany at the Sheridan, right?
The Sheridan, yep. 199 Smith Road.
Yep. It's going to be myself.
And that's the Chiller Theater Convention.
Yep, Chiller Theater Expo.
Yes.
Model Toy and Film Expo. It's going to be myself, Tito Santana, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Kevin Sullivan, and Steve Savino, the Toy Hunter, at one table. We're going to have an interesting an eclectic group of people over there. Oh, boy.
Oh, it's going to be insane.
So, and then you also have, I understand Hulk Hogan's going to be there.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yep, Hulkster's going to be there, and as well as, from what I understand, Brodus Clay, I think a couple other wrestlers. I heard there's a Happy Days reunion, and a whole bunch of other...
Yeah, I think there's Good Times reunions.
Good Times reunion. Yeah, they have a lot of reunions.
Yeah.
It's become less
Tatum
and less
O'Neal,
horror.
I think they just... Ace Frehley.
Ace Frehley's going to be there. That's
yeah.
going to be great.
Yeah.
Gotta go hang out with Ace. So just don't bring any beer anymore.
And we're both going to be at ToyCon, and that's October 18th and 19th at PAL in Parsippany, and that's on 33 Baldwin Avenue.
Yep, that's right in the
and
same area.
that's going to be just a strictly toy expo, and science, sci-fi, and I think the Power Ranger guests are going to be there too.
Are they really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we'll be both there.
And then just for the record, I got to plug in when we're at Chiller.
Okay.
We are Greg Valentine and Kevin Sullivan and myself. We're leaving to go to Brooklyn, New York, on the night of the 25th because we're wrestling at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church at the school in the church at 7:30. Tickets are $20 a head, and it's myself with Kevin Sullivan in my corner against Greg the Hammer Valentine with Jimmy Superfly Snuka in his corner.
Oh, wow.
So it's like family versus family. Pretty much. So it's pretty funny that we're all doing that, and I got it's like every weekend there are a bunch of shows. I don't have the list in front of me, which is unfortunate, but I had that one show written down. One of the things that really helped snowball my career was the movie The Wrestler.
Yeah, tell me about that one.
Yeah, so
how'd you get into that one?
Gino Caruso hooked me up with an audition with Darren Aronofsky, and I didn't even know Darren Aronofsky from a hole in the wall. I've seen his movie Requiem for a Dream at the time, and I had no idea that was the guy sitting in front of me that I was auditioning, and he said he loved me, and he put me in the movie, and he gave me a speaking line. And a lot of the other wrestlers that were in the movie were there because they helped. They were from AFA, the Wild Samoans Training Center.
Oh, okay.
So they were just in the movie as extras, and I don't even think they got paid as extras, but I actually auditioned. And I got a speaking role, which got me into the Screen Actors Guild, and that was really cool, So, Darren Aronofsky came over to me. I'll never forget this. I'm taking a leak. Darren Aronofsky comes over. He's taking a leak in the stall next to me. He turns around, looks at me, and goes, "I got to tell you, you're a natural." He goes, "You're going to go places in this business." He goes, "I really liked it." He goes, "You hit your lines. You hit it on the spot with the first take." He said, "You added a little to it." He goes, "And I didn't have to direct you in any way, shape, or form." He goes, "I don't know if it's got to do with your wrestling interviews that you were able to do it." I said, "You told me to be natural." I said, "Darren, you told me to be natural." And I said, and I was. And he said, "Well, that's the way you got to be. You got to relax and be natural. Remember your lines. You don't necessarily have to remember them verbatim, but remember them and do them naturally as up to the situation that you're in." The situation I was in was the locker room scene, so I acted like I was in the locker room going over my match. Yeah. I just added what I had to add to it and took away what I thought didn't sound good. And some directors since then that I've worked with, heaven forbid you deviate from the script, and okay, Mr. DeMille, so. But
where did they come up with the name Randy Savage?
Oh, I have no idea. I know his name was Randy Poffel was his real name. So Randy Savage, I have no idea. Well, Savage.
That was just
I guess stage show name. I guess,
okay. No, because but they made him look like almost like a macho man, like he was coming out.
That's what the gimmick became. So it was pretty cool. But I think Vince added Macho Man Randy Savage to it. I think Vince added that on. I really don't know much about that. So that's a little.
Well, that was Mickey Rourke. That was playing the wrestler.
Oh, you mean Randy the Ram?
Oh, Randy the Ram.
Randy the Ram. You're asking about Macho Man. So did he get hit in the head with a chair or something? What happened here? You're all over the place, Steve.
You still won't tell me if it's fake or not.
I have no idea. I didn't hear that word. What was that? The microphone cut out again. What the hell? What's the matter with this thing? Oh, testing 1, 2, 3.
You think that guy was really getting stapled?
Oh yeah, he did. He did. Yeah. Some guy. I did a show a while ago, and some kid comes up and goes, "Can I hit you with a staple gun?" I looked at him. I go, "What?" He goes, "Can I use a staple?" I said, "Dude, you got a better chance of fucking seeing fucking ice in the fucking middle of the desert, Sahara Desert, than you do a fucking staple. You come at me with that thing." I said, "I'm gonna fucking staple your eyeballs shut."
When you finished filming, and I guess you watched the film, did they get it right? How they portrayed a wrestler life?
You know what's sad it's true. It hit the nail on the head, and sometimes it rings close to home. It just, for me, it sort of makes me wonder, what am I going to do after wrestling? What life do I have after wrestling? It's hard to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I mean, the acting business is great, but even that's not guaranteed. It's hard. That's why a lot of the speaking engagements that I do now are about transition from pro wrestling into acting, and in a way, it's transition from pro wrestling into everyday life. How do I go back to being a 9-to-5er? As Bobby Heenan would say, a ham and egger. How do I go back? How do I go back to that? You know what I'm saying? I have to do what I do. I mean, even though I may not be working at this stage of the game for a WCW or a WWE, still, how do you go back? It's a hard transition. It's not easy, and even in acting is not the same. Once you become a wrestler and you're addicted to it, that's why guys like The Rock and Hogan, everybody, they always come back. They always come back. You always come back. Very few wrestlers have stayed away once they're done.
Well, that's with wrestling karma, everybody. You definitely come back. Is your life being in the wrestling business? Like, can you be a trainer afterwards, or can you write a book about wrestling, or just a book about yourself? Well,
the book I'm writing right now, being authored by Nick Casilla, is a story of my life. It's my biography. It's called "It's Really Not My Fault." Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be out in 2014, but now it's looking more like mid-2015. But as far as wrestling, writing a wrestling book, I don't know. Anything's possible. Training, I've been approached to train people. Do I want to go that route? I don't know. Will I go that route? Anything can happen. I don't know. It's just a tough subject with me. I mean. Do I want to keep putting my body at risk at the age of 45? It's hard, So that's right. I mean, I'm 45 years old and I'm still running around in my underwear.
And hanging out with the legends.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. All right, here's coming from, a toy hunter. What type of toys did you ever want to find, or did you find? Like the holy grail of your childhood. Did you ever find one yet? My
holy grail of my childhood, I got pretty much. I was spoiled. I got everything I wanted. Everything I wanted, I got pretty much as a kid.
You didn't get a Jaws doll, right?
No, I didn't want the Jaws doll.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't want the Jaws doll. I just said I wanted them to make one at the time.
They did.
Yeah, but they did. I got it. I got it when they eventually made it. They made it in the late '90s, mid to late '90s.
The '70s. The real Richard Keel Jaws doll.
Oh, the real big one.
Yeah, by Amigo.
Oh, you see, I didn't have the Mego one. No, I had the one later on. I didn't even know about the Mego one. Yeah. So now I got to go out and get it. See, damn you. Open up a can of worms. No, seriously. No, in all seriousness, I pretty much, I've been good as far as, you know what? I collect Marvel Legends. So for a while, my holy grail, I love doing the Build-A-Figures, and I love the chase. So I love going to find them. Okay. The Walmart Ares Build-A-Figure. Yeah. I recently completed Ares. I wound up getting a Crossbones figure with the elusive left leg of Ares, so I wound up completing that. Now I have enough pieces. I ordered a second left leg online because I had a lot of leftover ones, so I'm pretty much on my way to making a second Build-A-Figure of Ares, which I can sell at the conventions, or maybe just, have one to hang out and play with, So it's not me, but it'll have to do. Cool. So, but there are other figures that I want. I mean, I've been looking for Marvel Universe, I guess, Gigantic Battles, the blue Goliath. Okay. I've been looking for that one, the blue Goliath. And there's a couple other ones that I've been trying to get. I've been trying to get the new Marvel Legends, the Toys R Us exclusives. I think it was the Jubilee Build-A-Figure for the X-Men. Okay. Trying to get the Magneto figure from that. I don't want to build a figure. I just want
the smaller now, right?
These are the 6-inch figures, like the ones behind you. Yeah, they're the 6-inch figures.
They made like the little Justice Leagues now.
Yeah, I don't collect the tiny.
They're like 4-inch now.
No, the 3 3/4 inch. I don't collect the Star Wars size. I don't collect. My big thing now is I am totally in love with Hasbro's new line of Star Wars black 6-inch figures. Okay, those figures have taken They are just tremendous. They're Marvel Legend size, scaled. Okay. They're really cool. I have a lot of them gracing my shelves over here. They're just great. The Chewbacca figure looks tremendous. You know what I'm saying? And Darth Vader looks great. He's got the removable helmet in this, and they're fully posable, like mega posable, and that's really cool. And I love the Hasbro has seemed to have turned it up a notch, and they've started to build the figures sort of like Toy Biz started to make them more posable and a lot better than they've been in the past. What I'm hoping for, if anyone from Hasbro listens to your show, and I don't know if they do, would you guys make a really good Submariner figure? I mean, that one you guys made a long time ago at the Fantastic Four line was cool, a little anorexic, his head was too small, not that posable. Make a freaking kick-ass Namor figure, make them in the green trunks, and make a variant maybe with the new blue outfit.
Are you going back to Toy Biz?
I'm talking about the
Toy Biz days?
No, I'm talking about the new ones, Hasbro ones.
No, I'm saying.
I go back to Hasbro, the Marvel Legends. I go back all the way to Toy Biz. Yeah. I got them. I used to collect the Toy Biz 5-inch, the Marvel figures when they were just Marvel, the X-Men, and Spider-Man animated series. Yeah. That got me back into collecting.
That was the first.
Yeah, Batman was made by them first. Yeah,
from Toy Biz. Yeah,
I have those with the Jack Nicholson Joker. And, I have
Bob
those.
the Goon.
Bob the Goon.
That could be Jason.
Jason the Goon.
Jason the Goon. For Halloween.
Hell, right now he'd respond to that.
He's got to hear that.
We got to get him to listen to the show. He just had a root canal. So I said, did they travel enough into the brain? You know what I want? You know what I told him? I said, when you're getting your root canal done, Jason, can you imagine if it was Luca with a lab coat and a drill?
Oh, yeah.
Going, hello, Jason, open up your mouth.
Yeah. Wow.
I also love the Doctor Who figures. I've been collecting Doctor Who, the ones from, I guess it's, I forgot who makes them, the company that makes them, but the Doctor Who figures.
They don't make them over here.
No, they're from England. They just shrunk down the size. I stopped collecting because they shrunk the size to 3 3/4 inch.
Oh, it's hot now.
Yeah,
that TV series here is really booming, and
it is.
I'll be at New York Comic Con this week coming up, and you're gonna see every kid wearing that little hat.
The Dalek hat or the TARDIS hat.
Yeah, the TARDIS hat.
Yeah. But I got them all. They're all in the shelf behind you. A lot of them. But I stopped collecting them too, really, because they shrunk them down in size.
Yeah,
they went down from 5 inch to 3 3/4 inch. I wish they would make them now 6 inch scale. Which would be pretty cool. They raised it to make them more the size of Star Wars, the Black, or the 6 inch Marvel Legends. That would be pretty cool. So I think the 5 inch line. They were the only ones doing a 5 inch line of figures in the past few years, and I think the 5 inch line is kind of dead. Was dead for a long time before McFarlane turned it up to 6 inch figures, and he raised the bar, and everybody had to raise the scale of their figures to compete with him, and then the 5 inch line eventually went out. I think the only two 5 inch scale action figures were the Doctor Who and the Walking Dead figures.
Walking Dead's not,
yeah. So
another hot series.
Another hot series, yeah.
Oh,
and the two hot series are making 5 inch figures. So, but I prefer the 6 inch scale. I like them at 6 inch. So,
you ever do any custom type of figure work?
I don't make custom figures. I don't make custom figures at all. I mean, I just don't, because I like to pose them and stuff. When you customize them, you can't really play with them because they're not like factory made.
Because a lot of guys come to the shows that I set up and they buy my loose figures and they say, "Oh, I'm going to take it home and create this figure."
Well, you could do that too. I mean, it's all well and good, but it's if you're going to just leave them in your cabinet. But I have a tendency to pull mine out, repose them, put them in because I get bored with looking at them the same way.
Yeah.
So, which is why the top shelf behind you is all discombobbled over there because I can't stand looking at the same thing all the same time. So I switch them around and make my Avengers to the left, the Fantastic Four to the right, everybody else in between, and one. I even have a Space Ghost figure in there. It's pretty funny.
Oh, that's cool.
They have a 6 inch Space Ghost. They did the Hanna-Barbera.
When you're wrestling, do you feed off the fans when they get into it?
Oh yeah.
They're chanting you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're hating you.
Oh, I love the fans. I love the fans. I love the fans. I love wrestling fans. I mean, but when I'm a bad guy, they'll go out there and. I mean, they'll torment me, try to torment me, but in reality, all they're doing is opening up a can of worms, and they're basically, they want to interact with the wrestlers. So some of them, Ricky Steamboat taught me years ago. He said, "You pick out one fan in the audience, pick out one fan, and keep coming back to that one guy." So I'll pick out the fat broad in the front row. I'll pick up the ugly kid in the front row. Or some dweebish looking kid, little kid that keeps yelling at you, saying, "You suck, you suck." I'll turn around, I'll jump right up to the guardrail, get right in that kid's face. I go, who sucks, kid? And that kid will freaking, his face will turn blue, and then he'll turn green and want to puke on his mama. You know, he'll run back, and then, you know, you just get him going. You know, I mean, I got this one fat lady that was wearing pink, and she was sitting in the front row, and it was this, you know, she's probably somebody's mom or something. She's probably a sweet lady, but at the moment she was my target. When I'm in the ring, I'm a bad guy, and I played up to the hilt. I looked at her and I said, lady, I said, it's become apparent that you actually think you look good in that color. What in fact it tells me is that one of the local hog farmers around here has lost hold of his prized possession as she's running amok through the local armory up here in Newburgh, New York. And I said, pretty in pink, lady, you stink. You stink like the hog farm you came from. You look like a hog. You look like a pig. You dress like a slob. Don't dress in pink. You're horrible. You're ugly. Go home. Look in the mirror before you leave the house. Well, this lady was pissed, but behind her was an even bigger hillbilly husband. Oh, and when big Bubba got up, his chair went, oh, thank you. You know, he got up. Those 3 chairs he was sitting on said, thank you, like the Stooges. He got up, man. Oh, that was a mass of humanity. Wow. When he got up and he looked at me, he went, hey, Anderson, get over here. Come say to my face. I said, dude, I don't want to get close to your face. That breath stinks, man. Those barbecue ribs you had last week, it's still stuck in your teeth.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, my
I said,
God.
Jesus Christ, a little bit of dental floss, some mouthwash, and some fucking bug spray. That's what he needs, you know? No. I love the fans. It's my constituency. Some of them have no teeth, you know, and, you know, it's just, it's what it comes down to. I have to admit, you know, some of the fans are really great. You know, they send me stuff, you know. Other fans are really nutty. Somebody wound up Facebook outed my real name, my real last name a few years back. And I had a fan that actually did reverse engineering, and he used my name and somehow found where I lived before in the past. And he came to my house where I used to live, where my 93-year-old aunt lives. And he came knocking on the door with a stack of pictures for me to sign. And my aunt was like freaked out, you know, and she's 94 years old, and he's knocking on the door, and then right after him, somebody else came to the door, kept asking for me, you know, and he had a poster for me to sign, and it was like weird, you know. My aunt was like, you know, he doesn't live here. Yeah. Well, can you give him this to sign? And the guy left the posters, and the guy kept coming back, you know, and I signed them, and I left a note, please, I don't live here, can you please not come here? And he keeps coming back, and it was just weird. I didn't get a restraining order or something, but, you know, I mean, it was just a little bizarre.
All right. You know, that was really a great one. You know, talking to you today and having fun and going back into the days when we first met. And, oh, man, it's been great here. I just want to make some quick plugs out here that you're going to be at First Toy Con. That's October 18th and 19th at the PAL and 33 Baldwin Avenue in Parsippany. And then you're also going to be at Chiller Theater Convention Expo, and that's October 24th to the 26th, and that's at the Sheridan Hotel, and that's 199. That's on Smith Road in Parsippany. And any place this week or next week you're going to be wrestling?
The big one is going to be on the 26th in Brooklyn at Our Lady of Guadalupe at 7:30 p.m. When I leave Chiller, we're going to do that one. So that's going to be the one I'm plugging for now.
Cool, man. It was great being here with you. So where can the fans find you?
They can find me, the Reinforcer Andrew Anderson, on my Facebook fan page, or they can find me on Facebook as Andrew Anderson. And it's
what about your aunt's house?
My aunt's house, yeah. Everybody seems to be finding me there. Or you can find me at Twitter at Drew the Wrestler. Okay.
One last question. Again, is it fake?
Your microphone just keeps going out. Keeps cutting out. I have no idea. So I think he said he had a toothache. What did he say?
I don't know, people, but I'm starting to hear that music again coming in, and Andrew's starting to dance too a little bit. So I'll be back again real soon, folks. Thanks again, and take care. Bye.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time at Crazy Toy World with Steve Savino.
Don't forget to submit questions and comments. Some will be used on future Q&A episodes. You can reach Steve at sas22063@aol.com or at stevetoyhunter@yahoo.com, or visit Steve's Facebook page at www.facebook.com/steven.savino.1. And don't forget to visit Steve's eBay store at www.ebay.com/USR/123-KID. You can listen to and reach this show at our website, www.crazytoyworld.com, at our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/crazytoyworld, on YouTube at www.youtube.com/crazytoyworld. Follow the Crazy Toy World Twitter feed at www.twitter.com/crazytoyworld. Crazy Toy World is hosted by Steve Savino, produced by Carlos Perone, and is a production of Geek Fest Rants. Copyright 2014, all rights reserved.